for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A roll call.
Dave Webb. Here. Kevin Kadada.
Here.
Tim Rude.
Here.
Cindy Fuhr.
Here.
And Scott Palava.
Here.
Tonight's agenda was to 10I, and in addition, deletion of corrections to the agenda. So what did we have, one?
Or to the,
For the agenda?
yeah, staff would request that consider approval of resolution 2022-38, the petition to vacate alley right-of-way be added to the agenda.
Make that letter J. Motion. Item J.
Motion by Councilman Palava, second by Councilman Kadada. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Consider approval of the minutes
I
of
don't
the June 30th, 2022 regular meeting. Any time out?
Nope.
Okay. In addition, deletion of the corrections to the minutes.
Move we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearings, presentation of citizens' petitions and comments limited to 2 minutes. Not on the agenda. Okay, we're looking on the consent agenda. Business, to new business, introduction of Rick Portis, candidate for Minnesota State Senate District 50. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Mayor, members of the council, city staff, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to address you tonight. And I just want to remark that so far this has been one of the most well-run meetings that I've attended in a long time. I just wanted to give a little background about myself and about my campaign. I was born and raised in Farmington. I graduated from Farmington High School in 2009, after which I attended the University of St. Thomas, where I earned a degree in leadership and management. In 2012, in addition to starting my 10.5-year career at Thomson Reuters, I was elected to the Farmington Area School Board, becoming one of the youngest people ever elected to a school board in the state of Minnesota. On the school board, I served for 8 years. During that time, we took steps to reduce debt service payments in the future, saving taxpayers over $50 million. And then I always made sure that parents were partners in the decisions that we made as school board members. After 8 years, I decided that was enough for me on the school board, and I wanted to focus on my private sector career. So I decided not to run for re-election. And in early 2021, I actually switched careers and went from Thomson Reuters, a very large company, to a small consulting firm based in Farmington called Finch & Daisy. And we do real estate accounting and consulting services for clients across the country. And over the last year or so, we've grown by almost 10 employees and almost doubled revenues based on the work that I've done with our CEO. In February 2021, as we all know, the courts released the new legislative districts, and we found ourselves in a brand new open Senate seat. And when that happened, my phone started ringing off the hook. I had people who were asking if I'd consider running. And before I decided to do anything, I did want to talk to my family, my friends, my fiance, and pray about it. And after having all those conversations, I felt the urge to get in because public service, just like you guys, is a passion of mine. So I got in the race. And, you know, the three big things that when I've been talking to members of our community, everybody talks about the schools, public safety, and taxes. And those are my three priorities when I get elected. I'm going to work to make sure that decisions are made locally by locally elected school boards and not bureaucrats in St. Paul. I'm going to make sure that our local law enforcement agencies have the resources and the personnel to keep us all safe in our communities. And I think my prioritization of that is why I recently was endorsed by the Minnesota Police and Peace Officer Association just last week. And then finally, they've got $9.3 billion sitting in the bank up in St. Paul. That's our money that they overtaxed us. We need to have long-term permanent tax cuts for working families across our state, and we need to finally eliminate the Social Security tax that our seniors are paying. In addition to those three policy areas, my biggest focus will be being a partner for Lonsdale, for Farmington, for Northfield, for New Prague. If there's anything that our communities in the Senate District need me to advocate for in St. Paul, I will be your biggest fighter and your biggest cheerleader when I get elected in St. Paul. That's all I had. I promised you guys early that I'd keep it short and sweet. But like I said, I'm running in the Republican primary on August 9th, and thank you for your time. And I'll hang out and watch the rest of your meeting and answer any questions you guys have afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, consider approval of application for payment number 16 in the amount of $37,417. Two contracts to be for the police facility. Welcome, sir.
Mayor and council, hello again. So we are this close to being finished. So I think we had talked at our last meeting that we'd be pretty close to being finished by the first of the month, but I think we are, as many of you probably know, we are still struggling with a couple of issues on materials that we're still trying to figure out where exactly it is. The one thing for sure is the boiler. So we understand that it is on a truck in the area, but we still don't have final confirmation on it, so I think it's in all of our best interest at this point in time to hold off on final occupancy. There's some contractual things related to substantial completion that we just don't want to trigger until we have all of the stuff there. So I think at this point in time we've agreed to hold off on occupancy of the building until some of these last few items get done. We are still looking for the generator too. That's another issue that we have out there, but it's supposed to be shipped as of today, so hopefully we'll have the generator soon. While not necessarily an occupancy issue, the storm door is something that we're still waiting on, and the replacement of the overhead garage doors. And so those items still remain outstanding, will still remain on the punch list, but I think the only thing that we're holding up on occupancy right now is the boiler, and as soon as we have a date certain and tracking on that, we will start to work towards an actual substantial completion date and an occupancy date for the building. We have done the final punch list on the building. Most of the punch list items are complete at this point in time, notwithstanding the things that are missing right now, so I think things are in good shape. Furniture has been installed. There's a couple pieces that will need to be replaced, but nothing that is going to hold up anything as far as getting into the building, so we've done that punch list as well. The one thing that we do want to bring to the council, not at this meeting, but at a future meeting, is just to finalize open change orders for the contractor. We'd intended originally to bring something to the council tonight, but we are still waiting for a clarification on a few things from the contractor. They're kind of struggling back and forth on a few things. It will be a sizable change order because it's just a bunch of things that have been building up that we just haven't gotten final resolution on to be able to bring it back to council. It'll probably be in that 35 to 40,000. It's just things that have been agreed to, things that have changed that we're all aware of. We've reviewed them with staff. It's just we just haven't gotten the final pricing on it in a timely fashion to be able to bring it to you in pieces. So our intent at this point in time, there's no reason to bring back multiple change orders, so we're just going to work with the contractor to finalize these last few things and just bring one final change order back to council, and I'll come down and we'll go through that and get that approved at a council meeting coming up here, and probably hopefully in the next few weeks or as soon as we can get that from them. So the simple thing we're looking for tonight is approval of pay application, the pay application 16 for the project. There still remains some open. We're not billing 100% in all categories because there are some things that are still open, but there still remains overall contingency of roughly about $316,000. So we have plenty of incentive for key contracting to finish up these loose ends. So with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, but tonight we're simply looking for approval of the pay application. And like I said, we'll be back for approval of that change order at one of your future meetings.
How about the exterior work?
It's all done, yeah. They're actually watering the grass out there right now. It looks really nice. So. And that'll be one of the change orders we'll bring at the future one, is the installation of the irrigation system, which is a partial trade with the contractor for maintaining the lawn. So the city, we got a really nice deal on an irrigation system.
Did anything come up at the meeting?
covered all the hang-ups right now, so.
It looks good, it's just, we just got these couple of last things to get resolved, so.
Everything's, reviewed it, everything matches up, meetings and everything else, so. Make a motion to pay payment number 10, I'm sorry. Payment 16, I'm sorry. For 37,417.17 to contractors.
Second?
Discussion? Favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Great, well, we will see you again soon. Have a good evening.
Consider approval of application for payment number 10, the final, in the amount of $9,000 to A1 excavation for the Second Avenue Southwest area street utility improvement.
Yes, hi, good evening, Mayor and City Council. This item is requesting staff to approve the final pay voucher to A1 Excavating, the amount of $9,000 for the Second Avenue Southwest Street Utility Improvements. This payment is a release of the remaining retainage that was held back until all contractual obligations were satisfied. Although the project was substantially complete about a year ago, due to some issues, some private property impacts, as well as the need for extended warranty for the water services, we're just now to the point where we can actually close this one out. City staff has worked with the contractor, city attorney for quite some time to secure the additional 2-year warranty for the water services. Just a reminder, there were several services that were found leaking about a year ago. Little uncommon to see that, so we did request that, hey, we're going to need a longer warranty period for the water services themselves. So it's an additional 2 years beyond the 2-year warranty for the services. So we did finally get that from the contractor. All punch list items have been completed. All documentation has been received. With this payment, final contract payment about 1.5% less than the original contract. The alternative this evening is to not approve the final pay voucher. It is staff's recommendation to approve final pay voucher to A1 Excavating, the amount of $9,000 for the Second Avenue area street and utility improvements. That concludes staff's report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And that is all resolved with that one driveway question.
It is not. So we've been threatened to be threatened to be sued by A1 if we did not make the final payment. So I did reach out to the Bills of Lonsdale Homeowners Association and said that we were going to make the final payment, and they needed to figure out what they wanted and get this resolved. The city engineer, myself, has spent countless hours on this trying to help facilitate a solution, and there seems to be no interest in getting this resolved. Once we made the decision to proceed to final payment, I did reach out to the Villas of Lonsdale and was given the new president's name. So I reached out to her and told her that, here, we're being threatened with litigation if we don't make the payment. You have about a month to figure this out and come to terms and get this resolved. I said, that's why we've been holding this out, so you have some leverage to negotiate. Mind you, this all started, I took the picture on September 1st of 2001. So we're coming up on 10 months. Well, really 11, basically 10 and a half, almost 11. So I reached out to the new Homeowners Association president and filled her in, gave her some contact information, and she called and said that she wasn't getting anywhere with their attorney, nor with the prior members of the Villas of Lonsdale's Association Board. So I did meet with her, provided her some information that I had, and again reminded that this is coming. You guys need to get this resolved. Last Friday, towards the end of the day, I received an email from the Homeowners Association's attorney that it was brought to his attention that we were going to make the final payment And if we did do that, we may be co-defendants in a lawsuit. I instructed the city attorney to provide the facts to their attorney, his law partner, and that the city was only paying for him to respond to this email, and that is it, and to tell him that we're making the payment the 14th. So it is not resolved. I did provide them, or the villa's president, the insurance information for A1, so that they could provide that to their insurance company and go that route. I'm certainly not speaking for the contractor, but that seemed to be the most realistic
Well, I was gonna say,
scenario.
I mean, that's really what it was, short claim, damage to the parking lot or whatever. Man, I think in fairness, they won it, they've given you a couple extra years of service, right? 4-year warranty is pretty good on it.
Yeah, as far as the city's work, we're comfortable with, well, we're recommending approval of the final payment, but as far as the city work, we're comfortable with where it's at. And I guess the homeowners association will have to figure out what they're gonna do, but we can't be in the middle of this anymore. I mean, no one's done more for them than us, actually.
Well, the executive, in fact, would be pretty time to this time.
We could have paid for it and made the repair ourselves.
We approve application number 10, final for an amount of $9,000, A1 Excavating Incorporated.
Second. Motion to approve, second, Webb. Any further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Consider approval of application for payment number 3 in the amount of $480,561.04 to GCM Construction for the 2022 street and utility project.
Mayor and members of the City Council, for consideration this evening is pay voucher number 3, in the amount of $298,561.04 to BCM Construction for the 2022 street improvement project. Work items completed as part of this payment include the installation of new water main. We've got the new water services in, so that work is all complete now. Sanitary sewer repairs are complete. We're nearly done with drain tile with this payment. New storm structures were replaced as part of this payment, and then partial rebuilding of the roads has been completed in that month. Included with this pay voucher is change order number 1, which is the next item on the agenda that we'll talk about. With this payment, about 40% of the original contract value has been paid. As far as construction progress, utility work, as I mentioned, is complete. Curb, the last remaining portion of curb will be done tomorrow, and then we'll go on to rebuilding the roads. Right now, we're looking at July 24th for the first layer of pavement, and then restoration and pavement, the final wear will be done the following year, but come mid-August, we should be pretty much wrapped up out there. So things are going very well. I'd say even a little bit ahead of schedule right now. So weather's helped. Hasn't been a ton of rain, which probably use some rain, but the construction helps keep things going. The alternative is to not approve this pay voucher. It is staff's recommendation we approve the pay voucher number 3 in the amount of $298,561.04 to BCM Construction. That concludes staff's report. Happy to answer any questions.
I have one question for you. Have we been updating the residents who, like, in the past they sent out flyers or update, construction update letters?
Yeah, every week we send one out. Every Friday morning we send one out. We're constantly talking to residents in the field, our inspector. I've talked to several people, so everyone's pretty well informed.
Okay, good. Thank you.
The newsletters are not being mailed out. We did not mail them out for last year's project either.
Okay.
We came to the conclusion that no one reads them. And we sent out the first couple and said that, hey, if you want them, contact us and we'll mail you one. They are posted on our website.
Okay.
And shut-offs, and they were notified that the curb being poured can't be on it for 7 days.
Yeah, like big ticket items, they'll get flyers on their door, like curb, can't drive in your driveway for a week,
All right.
water shut-offs. So we've been keeping people informed throughout.
Okay.
Very much of the fight.
It's been going pretty good.
I would think they'll be excited to get pavement.
It's always a good thing,
That's a big
right?
Thank you.
Yep.
Move we pay pay voucher number 3.
Second.
Robert, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consider approval of change order number 1 in the amount of $10,311.60 for the 2022 street and building improvement project.
Yes, Mayor and members of the council, for consideration is change order number 1 for the 2022 street improvement project, in the amount of $10,311.60. So during replacement of storm sewer structure on 3rd Avenue, near the intersection of Railway, it was discovered about 120 feet of pipe. Was in pretty bad condition, was actually flowing the wrong direction, so not really ideal when you got too much water going into one structure. So we noticed that in the field. We made a decision then and there that we're out there, let's get it replaced. It was in pretty bad shape with some old RCP. It was real thin walled. It really needed replacement, so we went ahead and authorized that to get done. In order not to delay construction operations, we did have them do that work the next day. BCM did agree to do all the work at unit prices, so we didn't pay a markup or anything. We did the same prices that we paid for the other pipe that we put in. This item was included on the previous agenda item that you approved with pay voucher 3, 2 items, but it was included in that payment. It is staff's recommendation that we approve the change order in the amount of $10,311.60 to BCM Construction. That concludes staff's report. Be happy to answer any questions.
Good catch. Glad you found it.
Make a motion to approve change order number 1 for 1031 Social. Second.
Robert, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Consider approval of an agreement between the city of Lonsdale and Singapore Consultants Inc. in the amount of $4,647 and compliance and safety training. John?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. This is an item that's considered annually by the city council. We've contracted with Safe Assure since 2004 and are satisfied with the policies and training and the mock OSHA inspection that they do for us annually. The proposed fee this year or for the next year is $4,556.23. It's an increase of 2%. And looking back at prior years, 2% has been the increase each of the last 3 years. We'll continue to receive compliant policies and training as required by OSHA. If we are audited by OSHA and one of our policies is deemed not compliant, Safe Assure pays that fine for us because they're guaranteed to meet OSHA requirements. The fiscal impact, as I said, is about $4,600. That was a budgeted expense in this year's budget and will be split between all departments, with the majority going to parks, streets, water, and sewer, since that's probably 90% of the training that's done. The alternatives would be to not enter into an agreement with Safe Assure, conduct the training in-house, or contract with another company that provides this service. And then included with the staff report is the proposed agreement with Safe Assure. Unless there's any questions, staff would recommend approval of the agreement between the City of Lonsdale and Safe Assure.
Good program to keep up with that.
Do they, if there's an incident and OSHA has to come out and do their thing, are they there to assist us in whatever way they need assistance?
Yes, we actually did have, a few years ago, OSHA stopped in, and right away we contacted Safe Assure, and as soon as they could get here, they were here on site. So.
Insurance too, so I would make a motion to approve the agreement between Lonsdale and Safe Assure. Second.
Any questions, Robert? Councilman Red? Any discussion? favor?
Aye.
Consider approval of resolution 2022-37, a resolution accepting a donation from the Lonsdale Firemen's Relief Association.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The Lonsdale Firemen's Relief Association has made a donation in the amount of $15,000. This is typical from the relief to fund purchases of equipment in the fire department. Donations have to be used to the benefit of the city and our residents, and then based on the conditions of approval by the city. Also, all donations have to be accepted by the city council per statute 465.04. Unless there's any questions, staff would make a recommendation to approve resolution 2022-37.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consider approval of a proposal submitted by WSB in the amount of $39,500 to update the city's comprehensive water system. Mr. Wassa.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, I'm looking for approval of a water study for our water system. The last study that was done was in 2004. They recommend having these done every 10 years, so we're quite far behind. This would improve the knowledge of the system for fire protection, gallons per minute for fire protection for residential and for commercial, high and low pressure areas in town. This flow system, they would flow the system on a computer-generated model, and that would give us a lot of data for future expansion, where we need to expand, the next well, when we need the tower to come in for the future. Another thing, we're having problems with the booster station, which was built in '78. So there needs to be an update to that, or we need information of how we can eliminate it. So this study would give us a lot of knowledge. Also, it would give us possible better ratings with the ISO in the future, having all of this information. So that's why we're asking for permission to move ahead with the water study. The only thing to add to that would be to receive or accept the quote from WSB. Other things we could do is put it out for bid or not do the water study at this time. If you have any questions, I'd be willing to try to answer.
I suspect funded for this one.
Correct. Yep, it would come out of the water budget.
It would be good information moving forward, since we haven't had one done in almost 20 years. And we've had a lot of growth, very much different than what it was.
And it would set us up for the next expansion or next growth that comes into town also.
If we do get a new development in, we have to do a whole flow, say in the next 3 or 4 years, we have to do a whole new flow study, or could we do that development and take that data and input it into this study?
I think Nick could help with that. I believe this looks out into those areas for expansion also.
Right, we look at the long-term goal, wouldn't be something you have to do again for, every 10 plus years when you want to redo these, but we'll plan ahead and look at the maximum future development and sort of think of the maximum growth potential when we prepare these. It's really just a long-term planning tool, so where should we be spending our money in the next 10 years on our water system. Right now, it's sort of flying in the dark a little bit, not knowing where the needs are, so that's sort of what the study does.
So today you raise a good point, is it, depending which way the town expands, in the south, or north, or which, the house will come in next, that can be part of the study.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look at the long term, I mean, sort of the maximum growth potential and reasonable, right? Not every single lot, but if you look at the, maximum growth potential of the city, and there's some factors in there, so if it does go beyond that, we're ready for it, and we're able to size the system appropriately.
How long does something like this take?
The study, we should have it done, we can get started pretty much right away. By end of November, we can have it all completed.
I think it's something worth investing in, just to get the knowledge and some future direction. So I move we approve hiring WSP for the comprehensive water system plan at $39,500.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Consider approval of a quote submitting road security in the amount of $21,187 for 21 security cameras to utilize American Rescue Plan application. Sir?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just a little background, back on June 9th, the city council, or at a city council meeting, I presented a quote from Grove Security for a surveillance camera system for all parks in the city of Lonsdale. The council requested a second quote from another vendor, identified the following 4 parks for surveillance system, and requested a revised quote from Grove Security to include only the identified 4 parks, which was J.C. Park, Veterans Memorial Park, Trendup Park, and Trichka. On June 22nd, I met with Ken Warner with Lloyd Security and toured the 4 parks that were identified. During the tour, I identified the same areas of coverage and the same number of cameras for each site as I did with Grove Security. The quotes provided, Lloyd Security provided a quote of $31,443 for equipment and installation. Grove Security, under a 1-year license, was $19,307 for equipment installation, and under a 3-year license, it was $21,187. The 2 systems operate differently, and some of the pros and cons with Lloyd Security are the following. Doesn't require Ethernet access. Obviously, there's a fee with that. Requires more equipment at each site, which would be an issue at the Veterans Memorial, since space is limited on that pole. The view from external devices like the squad computer, that does require a software download. And then 2, if the signal strength isn't strong enough, it could require a $10,000 upgrade for a piece of equipment. And it's got a 1-year warranty on parts and labor, and then 3 years on the camera. And then with Grove Security, requires less equipment at each site. The cost for equipment installation under a 3-year license is $10,256 less expensive than Lloyd Security. Under a 1-year, it's $12,135. Does require internet access at each site, which is approximately $40 a month. Comes out $160 a month. Total would be $160 a month, and then annually $1,920. And with that, the yearly fee would be $1,002 under a 1-year license, which covers the 10-year warranty, tech support, no maintenance cost, automatic software updates, and then unlimited user access. Basically, after reviewing both systems, my recommendation would be to go with Grove Security. The system appears more user-friendly, basically it's web-based. They take care of all maintenance issues that may occur, require less equipment at each site, and then 2, unless they come out and do a signal strength, it could be an extra $10,000 with Lloyd. And then I included the quotes from Lloyd, 2 from Grove Security under a 1-year contract and a 3-year contract. And with that, if you have any questions.
With the Grove, the 24 gigahertz system or whatever, that wouldn't be needed.
That's under Lloyd.
Yeah. Well, with Grove, they figure that they'll have enough range on it.
Yes, with Lloyd, it's not internet, it goes by signal. So basically, all the equipment is placed at the police department, and it's supposed to send that signal to the police department. So if there's obstacles in the way, that could affect the signal.
Drone is just like a
That's just
trail
internet.
cam.
Yeah, basically within it. So, and I know last time I thought it was each camera needed its separate internet, but he says no, it just takes one at each part to send a signal to, which then, obviously to web page.
Do we know anybody that is using this, that we could ask how?
I can't remember. I know there's a city, I just can't remember off the top of my head, but I know Grove Security referred a city that does use it, and I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember who it was, but I could get that information.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we have a lot of investments in those park areas. Protect them.
I think the 3-year would be the.
I would say so too.
With that, I make a motion, we enter into contract with Grove Security and a 3-year license fee of $21,187.21.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last item which is added to the agenda is resolution 2022-38, requesting the county to vacate. Baker?
Thank you, Mayor Rude and members of the council. Adam Smishek brought in an application a few weeks ago, and also along with that application was a petition to vacate an alleyway that was platted back in 1909. And, I'm not sure if it was used back then, but hasn't been used for probably 20 years, I know. There is trees and undergrowth and some other obstacles in that way, and when we redid our Florida Street Southwest project, there was high-back curb put on both of the north and south sides, so there really isn't access for travel at this time. Adam and his wife did purchase the property on the would be the east side or the west side of Main Street, 601 Main Street South, and he may have future plans for that. So step one for him would be to get this alley vacated, and he had to get the neighbors on board, which he did. And so before you tonight, the first step that we need to go through is actually kind of basically approving or accepting the, not approving the vacation, but just accepting the petition. We're declaring that it's a sufficient petition. Staff looked over it. It was on our form that we give out for vacations, and they actually had locates done to see what was in the alley. We do have some small utilities, no city utilities. There's overhead power line there, so we would have to retain a drainage utility easement. So what will happen is on Monday, if this goes forward, we'll have a public hearing and the planning commission will make a recommendation. Then it will come back to you again for approval for another public hearing and approval at the 28th meeting. So with that, that concludes staff's report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Again, this is just declaring that the petition is sufficient and then calling for the public hearing.
Yeah, purchased a lot of it.
What was that?
Adam purchased a lot of it too.
Yes, it was the old Shattuck St. Mary's lot that they had forever and they never did anything with, so. There was just trees there and he's been kind of slowly cutting them down.
You anticipating him doing a parcel combination?
He said if he did that, it would probably be this fall. He's trying to figure out if he, one, would either put a house there or a garage or like an outbuilding or something, depending on, he's trying to weigh out his options of what he wants to do there.
Okay. saw it's improved already.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been in there
Yep.
scratching around and it looks a lot better.
Well, the first step would be, approve resolution 2022-38.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That concludes the planned agenda. On to department reports. Mr. Wessoff.
Mayor, City Council, as you know, we've been busy this week. We've been moving and bringing home our skate park. That is all here. We are done with that. It is all stockpiled at this point at the dog park or by the wastewater treatment plant. Other than that, we'll get back to our normal routine and hopefully start doing some blacktop patching and still busy at parks. And then we do have community days coming up, so we're busy getting things ready for that. That's all at this time.
How did it come apart?
Better than expected. Some things came home very well. Some things are in tough shape. It's just sitting 20 years of sitting on concrete.
I was going to say my son-in-law has a good friend that owns a skate park building. And he has a portion of the mentioned on the consult and the idea. It would be something great. I don't know if you need
Yeah, and take that information, any information on that. I did ask for them for some more information if they have it on, if they remember or have any information on what they expect for the concrete pad. The pad is in really nice shape and it's 20 years old. So
I think each guy would help a lot. I'll get you.
thank you.
Mr. Nick?
Yeah, just one thing, Mayor and Council, so the trail on Fig Street was paved this week. Still has some minor restoration to do, but good news is that got done. So just want to let the council know.
Mr. Erickson?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to Russ and Public Works staff for getting that skate park equipment here in town. It's a tall order. I think maybe a bit overwhelming at first, but at the end it sounds like it was manageable. So good job. We did obviously we got the bid. I think after it was less than $1,000, $906 or something like that. So I think definitely a good investment, even with what we'll have in staff time to repair and materials to get that done. So I think over the next couple of months, Park Board will have to look at possible locations of where we want that. So otherwise, I'm working on 23 budget. Our next budget meeting is the 25th. We'll be reviewing tomorrow applications that we've got for the accounting tech and city planner. County Road 4 project planning meeting is coming up here quick. There's also an open house the 26th between 4 and 6 p.m. at the library for anyone that's interested in attending that. We go to the Rice County Economic Development meeting next week, and then it seems like it's far away, but we've got a primary on August 9th, so I'll be gearing up for that and getting all the required training completed to handle that election. So.
Early voting in August.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Early voting.
Yes.
Thank you for all your work, but most of you know Joe spend a lot of time in City Hall. Quite a number of things. I appreciate that. Appreciate all your work and weekends and nights.
Thank you.
Yeah, back on track. Mr. Baker.
I just want to echo what Joel said. Thanks to Russ and his crew and to Mayor Rood and for the donation of equipment to help get that equipment, all that skate park equipment down from Shakopee. So I think that's going to be a great thing for Lonsdale, another amenity. Yeah, we'll we'll try to put together some maps of different areas in town for the park board to see where that equipment could fit, some different options. As far as American Legal did our codifications, or S11 supplement is now up on our website. So all the ordinances over the last 2 years are up to date and on our site. And just trying to do a smooth transition here over the next couple weeks. So I've been putting together some instruction binders and doing some minor training with Joel and Tammy and different things. So a smooth transition.
This should last.
I'll be at the budget meeting on the 25th.
Thanks again for all your work over the years. Councilman Webb.
Planning and zoning Monday at 6:30.
EDA will be meeting next week on Thursday.
Lava.
Everything's covered as far as the meeting going and EDA.
Couple of exciting things is you maybe have seen both building sites during construction. Where the dirt being used up for this. They expect footings and foundation and all the framework here. The snow flag is really awesome. Big thing for our town. David. I was talking for purple, but I actually did a lot of calls about pickleball. So I don't know, Ben, if you got any ideas or grant applications before you leave. Whip one up and get her in there. Exactly. As you know, community days is coming up, I'm sure we can always use volunteers available if you do so. And Scott even. Couple things this weekend. I'm going to be out of town, but there's actually 2 ribbon cuttings. It's the Foster is at 9/11 and revival at 10 a.m.
There's also a 1-year ribbon cutting on Friday at noon at First Crack out of West.
That's about all I have.
Move to adjourn.
Lava,
Second.
discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Carried.